I've taken on this wee job, you know. I finished the gate, which went well, all very super. So now I'm replacing this garage door and this window. And it's really weird because there's a nasty crack there. There's no structural support between the door and the window, it was all one piece. So I couldn't replace the door without replacing the window, because the door's attached to the window. So now I've got this garage with this massive hole, and who knows what's going to happen next. I thought I'd make a video while I have a break through my gate, what I built, into the garden where I am working for a friend. And this was the old door, and attached to this door was a window. And the window was directly attached to the door, which means I couldn't replace the door without replacing the window. So when I took it off, I had this huge hole to fill, this big crack down the side. So I've laid 2 courses of bricks. I'm going to lay another 3 courses, 4 courses, and maybe still squeeze in a small window, or maybe just brick it up to make sure it's structurally safe, and then put in a brand new door that I've made. So today has been cutting up bricks, because the blocks in there are 4x6, the blocks you can buy, are 8x6 or 8x4 or whatever. Actually they're not, they're 8x16. So every block has to be cut up into 3 bits before I can even do that, so quite an exhausting, time consuming job. But once they're all cut up, we can make the mortar and get another 3 layers on, and then we can start thinking about windows and getting the door on. Just a quick movie of this while I remember. So all that brickwork is my brickwork. And I was just going to brick it up as the safest. You see that huge crack and the moving blocks. Bricking it all up was the safest option, and then the door's been made to go in. But I like a bit of a challenge, and I'm thinking about making a window. The window would be, what, 500 wide by 400 high. And these bricks will go up to almost the top, and then once we get to almost the top, just below the lintel, we'll put in these new lintels to give it added strength. But what I want to do is, if I take this into the darkness, I would also like to solve the problem of these gaping cracks. Now, some people think these gaping cracks have been caused by the failure of the mortar, because of the insertion of that. You can't see it here, can you? That wooden peg, and that wooden peg was put in to assist with fixing the window. Maybe get back that wooden peg. So I want to take out these. I'll at least take out one block, take out that block, but I think the other block there might need to come out, but maybe this one block's enough. But there is an angle forward on that one, I'll have to see about that. So I'd like to solve this, because like up here, you know, we have a total separation. You can see through that. It's really bad, isn't it? And here as well. So both of these 2 blocks, I mean even the lintel, but I'm not going to take the lintel out. So I'd like to take those 2 out and replace them. So it means I've got to jack up the gap with either with a car jack or an Apple prop, probably a car jack. This is a bit of wood. In the old days I stuck these bits of wood in to let them fix the windows. There's another one up in there. So gotta stop and have a think about it and maybe learn how to make a window. That's where we're at with this project. On the upside, I've cleaned up this whole area, which was a right mess, and now it's a bit smarter. So that's it so far. I was a bit worried about building this wall, because it's a block wall, and blocks don't take the same amount of mortar as bricks. There's no inside channels for the mortar to go in blocks, and this is just going straight up in a one-liner, straight up like that. And that's always, you know, I don't like that. I like to build wide or in a pyramid structure. And the thing is taking all the time is that these blocks come in 8 by 20 size or something, whereas the blocks in the garage are, I think, 6 by 8. So every block I buy has to be cut up into 3 bits, and that's taken a long time. So that's where we're at after about a week. So started again. Discovered that this is slightly off. I'm trying to get it back on track. But as it gets higher and higher and higher, we've now put up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks high. It's really hard to build something that high and that narrow. There's no width to it, no base, it's just going straight up. Unless it's perfectly aligned. It's reasonably well aligned. It's just going to fall down.
A bit like sticky tape or grappling
You get to the point
reaching
where
out and grabbing the virus
could just
particles
completely
ready to
collapse.
dispatch them. A defence that reduces the viral
It's
load.
actually a bit of a
and
miracle that it's
reduces
still
viral
starting up.
load, maybe in a severe case of COVID-19. And crucially, this population
We shall see. So this is what I've got to. Instead of bricking it up, I've decided to build a small window. Maybe make it stained glass. So I've been taking it real slow to get this right, everything's level. And this is quite a high wall I built here. A high single brick wall, single block wall. It's very important that that is straight up and down, otherwise it'll just fall down. But I will now connect it to the roof, to the lintel, by using that lintel there to go into this gap here. That'll plug it all up. And once that's done, we'll be able to start getting the door on, get the window made, and then maybe address this massive gaping crack. See what I can do about that. I'm talking to somebody about that on Monday. So that's where we're at so far. A bit tired today, but I thought I should make a video because I haven't made one for ages on this project. So in through the gate that I made, which is now beginning to look like a very simple project, to the garage situation. Now, if you will remember, if you watched my earlier blockbusters, this was a huge hole, this bit here, where a window had been bolted onto the door directly, and it had all gone horribly wrong. So I have rebuilt this this wall, and that's my attempt at a sort of rendering scratch layer. And then I'm going to try and pebble dash it today to blend in with the rest. There's been various challenges, of course. I've made a door, which is in there somewhere, beautiful new door. But when the framing went on, and it wasn't easy to get this framing on because the walls are all squint, of course. The door turned out to be too big. So what I did was take out my concrete disc thing and reduced the floor by an inch of concrete. And now the door fits perfectly. Things I've learned, well, I've used some mesh beading stuff to give good angles on the small window that I've made. What I forgot to do with the window, I forgot to sort of put a sill in. I should have put a lintel underneath and underneath the bottom of the window to create a sill, but I haven't done it. I don't think it's a problem. I'm just going to put a drop off, an angle drop off on the outside for the water to run off, and then put in watertight thing. But I didn't enjoy these aluminium type beading things. They're difficult to get in. They stick out. They cause me problems with lining up the wood. I don't know if they're for this, but they were recommended to me to give you a nice edge, but they're difficult to stick. And I don't know if there'll be a problem in the future if they'll break through or what'll happen. I see some insect likes what I've done. So that's where we're at. I've also filled in the nasty sort of silicon gel stuff with proper mortar. I'll probably have to dash that. A friend of mine says that I should dash the whole thing, but that's expensive and time consuming, so I'm going to try just to dash the bit I'm doing, but because it's already raised up with a render, and it's not right there, is it? I'm going to have to buff it all down first with a flat disc to get it level, closer to the original. we'll see. So that's where it's at. It's been a massive job. Once it's all done, I've got to take all this to the skip. So the plan is pebble dash, fit the door, make a window, fit the window, and that's it done, hopefully. Well, my first attempt at pebble dashing seems to see most of the pebbles on the floor there. Should have listened to other people, put a sack down or some plastic sheeting to collect them, because they get mixed in with all the render that falls off and they're useless now. So you learn, don't you? You do learn. Anyway, what happened was I had a perfect render on this wall. It was perfectly smooth and perfectly level and beautiful, really nice. But then when I threw the pebbles on them, they didn't stick, they just fell off. So the mix must have been too firm, maybe too much cement, not enough sand, with lime in there. But the thing is, if it's too wet, it doesn't stick, and if it's too dry, the pebbles don't stick. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, then I took a paintbrush and painted some water over the whole thing, and then the render fell off. So I had to re-render. But when I re-rendered, just patched it up basically, so it's not smooth anymore. It's just a higgledy-piggledy mess, really. But this is the bit I had to re-render, and it actually looks like it should look, because I don't know why. I don't know what was different. It was quite a sandy mix, so it was quite a dry, sandy mix. But when I threw the stones on it this time, it stuck perfect. But the earlier attempts were hopeless. So I just don't know. I don't know why I succeeded putting it on again, and why I failed initially. I can only guess the initial mix was too firm, but I don't know why it was too firm. But there we are, that's the first attempt at pebble dashing. What a waste. I reckon about maybe 25th or 50th of the actual stones are on the wall, the rest are lying on the ground. And most are useless because they're mixed with the render, so there we are. Maybe somebody can explain to me why it went so wrong. Although at least I got there in the end, but it doesn't really help me, because if I go and do the rest of it again, I don't know why it worked, and I don't know why it failed. So, my second attempt at the very messy business of pebble dashing, which on my research I've discovered is to hide poor brickwork. Well, I've got good brickwork, but anyway. So now I know how to do it, but I've maybe made another mistake, which is I've taken shortcuts again. I just wanted to patch this area instead of doing the whole wall. Really, you have to do the whole wall, and here's why. You need a fairly deep layer of render. I would say you probably need a centimetre, probably. And I don't have a centimetre, I've maybe got 5 mil. But you need a centimetre all over, and the trick, and this is the secret it seems, is the mix. I never have a weak enough mix, and I never do this either, but this time I carefully measured 6 sand, 1 cement, 1 lime. Now I never measure, I just chuck it in and see how it goes. But I think I'm always using too much concrete. So this is 6-to-1 with 1 part lime added. And it's worked great. And the only reason there isn't more pebbles on that wall, and it's not more uniform, is that I've been patching it as I go. Some bits are thicker than others. The thick bits it sticks, the bits where it's not thick enough doesn't stick. So for example, you know, fairly successful there, and this is dried out too much and it's not so successful there. And up the edges, where I filled in the edges, no sticking because it's not nearly thick enough. Because it needs to take, I suppose, at the end of the day, it needs to take sort of at least half the pebble, which is maybe 2-3 mils, 4 mils. It needs to be soft enough and deep enough to take that. So there's your secret. 6-to-1, sand to cement. Add a piece of lime. I don't know what difference the lime makes, but I added lime. It's hydrated lime, not hydraulic lime. And I think if I'd done the whole wall from scratch with the same depth, it would have been really lovely. But it'll do. Quick update on my homemade window. And so there. That's the old perspex. I'll get some new perspex. Still needs to be painted again, I think, and I still need to fill it in, perhaps with some builder's foam. If I take it inside here, this is the inside, it's bolted into the wall there, really strong connection. Nothing's moving there. And it's hinged, it opens. I've sealed it with a little magnet up here. But you can change the glass by just taking the magnet off, pulling it down, putting in the new perspex. So that's it so far. So I think I've finished this garage restoration. Probably see from earlier videos that this was a rotten old door, which was directly attached to a rotten old window. And all of that came out, and I made the door and I made the door frame, and I built a completely new wall. You can obviously see where I've done it. And then I sort of hurled it, which went okay. The shot blasting didn't quite work, the pebble dashing, but we'll get to that maybe again. Then I made this window. This is a mega window. I made this, I welded this myself. And I bolted this inside, as you can see there. It's a really, I mean, this window will last 1,000 years. And I set it in and I blended it in with the cement, and I think the whole thing, if I can get back far enough, looks pretty great. I mean, this used to all be covered in overgrown stuff, and now it's a really accessible, easily maintained thing. Maybe in the future I'll have a go at repebble dashing it to blend it in a bit better, but it's a huge improvement on what used to be there, and I'm really happy that the wall I built, which wasn't easy because it was just it's always harder to add on something to an existing building to make it from scratch. I had to cut every single block individually to size, and there's about maybe 30, 40, 50 blocks in there, and then around the actual window I used red bricks and made a little brick frame for the window. So there's a lot of work in there. I think about 120, 150 hours of work. So that's it done.